It's adorable.
It's adorable.
I am. Hello.
Tell the world. Jenny's parents are adorable.
The whole world needs to know.
My parents are adorable.
The whole world watches our D&D.
Hey, obviously. So in a twist of events, I actually have some of Addie's dice, so y'all can see the rainbow D4.
They glow in the dark.
Gay rights.
I think only one color does. I think it's the green, but I'm not sure.
So what happened last time? I don't remember.
Nothing happened. It was all fine. Everything was okay.
Henry decided not to have a coup.
Yeah.
To be completely fair, Henry kind of got kicked out of the coup.
Yeah.
That is also true. It was an amicable breakup.
It was Henry set a boundary and stuck to that boundary, and then that led to them breaking up.
It was cold. That was a cold boundary.
Yeah, I didn't think about it the way, because when we were talking, Ben and I were talking about it after the session, and he's like, yeah, Chell said no, basically. And I was like, oh yeah, I guess that is true. I didn't even conceptualize it that way, because Henry said, if you want me to help, you got to tell me things. And she's like, I'm not going to tell you things. And he's like, okay, then I'm out. But she still wanted him to help. I don't know.
I mean,
He wanted help. Anyway.
I'm not going to give insights into anybody. Although
You rolled a nat 20 for deception, by the way.
Yeah, she did. She did roll a nat 20 for her. Not specifically. I mean, I guess kind of deception. But like.
Or you can't get insight on me skill, whatever.
Yeah, kind of deception.
So I want you guys to know what I'm doing is I have Twitch open and I have that screen muted and covered by my Discord screen just so that I can see the chat.
Nice.
See if my cousin shows up.
Yeah. I miss Sid.
I know, me too.
I'm so sad we don't get to see Sid this weekend.
Me too. So I'm missing her even more.
You can pop out the chat box, right? On Twitch, if you go over to where your little chat box is, down at the bottom, there's a little gear wheel. Okay, click on that, and it has pop-out chat. And then you can just minimize the whole thing and just have the chat up.
Nice. Now I can just have my...
Speaking of having chat up, probably have chat up. Okay. So we got it going on. So yeah, last session, what all did happen, other than Henry basically being told, no, you can't be in the coup with us, you're not cool enough.
You can't sit with us.
You can't sit with us.
Basically.
Why do you have to say it like that?
What else happened? Shoo, I can't remember things. We had a meeting. Go ahead.
Carl had some quality bonding time. Not succeeding at learning a knife trick, and
right, yes.
Spent a good chunk of the day face first in Pier.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Before Henry got rejected, we had the slowly building tension of will there be PvP, which is actually something I wanted to bring up with y'all briefly. it would have been pretty easy in this, what has just happened, for me to guide it towards more conflict between Colin, Ren, and Henry. Are y'all okay with a possibility of like full-on confrontation between your characters that could lead to physical conflict? This is something that should have been covered in session 0, and I realized was not.
I love the theory of it and am nervous by the practical application of it, I think is my answer to that.
Yeah, I am intrigued, but also like I don't want actual feelings to get hurt, you know?
Yeah.
My feelings would not get hurt. I think it would be hilarious if either of you killed Ren. But
I don't want to kill Ren.
I don't want to kill Ren. I would not take it personally. I think it would be fun. I don't think that our characters are predisposed to want to fight, as we can see from how much Ren and Paul talked about not ratting Henry out. So I don't think it's a likely scenario. But I'm fine with it. I'm fine with PvP. Like, I don't want it to happen, but I'm cool.
Okay, so it sounds like everybody's okay with it. So were another situation like this to come up, I know that, like, just for example, in this situation, I could have had Chels like enthusiastically accept Henry's support, which would have potentially led to a lot more conflict. But now we're through that, and we'll, should the bridge ever arise again, we'll cross it. Or maybe we won't cross it. Who knows?
Maybe we'll burn it.
Maybe the bridge will burn. Maybe everyone will still be on it. Who knows? Anyway,
Ren also debriefed Barnabas last.
Yes, and then the three of you met back up together because Call and Ren staged an intervention for Henry, but then, as it turned out, Henry had already quit drinking. And at the moment, Ace Ventura is really distracting. Yes, I always watch Ace Ventura while streaming. It's a Jim Carrey movie. Anyway.
I was thinking of Ace Attorney.
Not Ace Attorney.
I was like, why are you... What? Where did that come from?
No. Anyway, I believe the last thing the group did was they were planning to go speak with the guards that were present during the execution. And I think that is where we stopped.
Wasn't Ren going somewhere?
yes, so Call and Henry were going to go question the guards, and
Ryan first.
Ryan first, and Ren was going to go back to the tower.
Okay.
So, divide and conquer.
Alrighty. From Henry's room, the tower is a lot closer than the guard hall. So we will start with Ren going to the tower.
Okay. Ren's gonna go see Kenda again.
Alrighty. I gotta remind myself when in the day we are. We're very early in the morning. Or not very early. We're relatively early in the morning, I believe.
Mid-morning.
Yes, because y'all wanted to bring Henry a lunch themed for his morning attitude, or breakfast rather. So yeah, I guess we're probably pushing 10:30 by now. After y'all had your brief conversation. Yeah. So.
Okay.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Yeah, just going to Kenda's door, gonna knock as he always does.
The door flies open, as it normally does, when Kenda hears your knock. They have it. They can recognize it rather easily. I have all my dice are scattered, and I need my freaking Kenda 20. Here we go. All right. Let's see.
Okay. I'm taking notes because it calms me and I am too excited right now. Okay.
When you enter, Kenda is laying on a cushioned bench that you have never seen before, wearing like, it kind of looks like a sash, and that's it, around their waist, with very masculine upper half features. They are like a gradient blue to yellow, and they are laying on their back, throwing a green energy ball into the air and catching it.
Okay. If there's like a chair that Renton usually sits in, he's just gonna follow, you know. Whereas Kenda does not follow procedure ever. Ren is just gonna kind of go by habit and like sit where he sits usually. And he's gonna ask Kenda, I was worried about you yesterday. How are you?
They throw the ball a little bit harder, and it hits the ceiling and scatters and leaves like a splatter of green glowing energy on the roof that does not drip or look like it might drip at all. It just kind of splatters across the ceiling. And they just kind of roll their head to look at you, and say, I'm feeling better than I was then. There's still like a little nagging in my head that I need to find something. But I have torn through my desk too many times for it to be there. And I don't really have an idea of where to look.
And you don't have any sense what it's about? Like, do you feel like it has anything to do with the research you've been doing?
I have a sense that it's important. And almost nothing else.
Okay.
At that, they bring their hands up, and a very similar green energy starts going between their fingers as they start doing like cat's cradle and other stuff with like strings of green energy between their fingers.
We've talked about this a little bit before, but I haven't actually. You've confided in me, but I haven't really offered to help you in any practical way. And if there is a way that I can help you with your research, I would like to do it. I have questions about, you know, the story that you told me, if you're comfortable answering. But I would very much like to help if you'd let me.
Thank you. Having someone to talk to is help. But if you would like to, you know, if you want to do more, I certainly will stop you. What kind of questions did you have?
I guess starting from the beginning, you said that Master Barnabas was the first face you saw. Do you remember where you were? Like, where was the first place you remember?
I've been told that we were underneath the city. After attacking Barnabas, I put too much energy into the spell, and pretty shortly thereafter fell unconscious again. When I awoke, we were in this room. Barnabas talked gently and kindly to me. I was scared, and he helped me understand what I could of myself, but there wasn't I had no memory.
You said that there were others with you and Master Barnabas, and that he defended them. Do you remember who these other people were?
One of them was a student of his. I don't remember the name. For quite a while afterward, Barnabas came to me by himself only. I believe they were just. I've never actually asked Barnabas what he was doing there to begin with. But the two with him, as I said, one was his personal student, and the other he was a wizard. I can't seem to remember anything else about him. I haven't had conversations with either of them since.
Have you seen them since?
I've certainly seen Barnabas' student. He no longer is here. He went north years ago. I think 5 years ago. The other I did see at least once, but I'm not sure. I'm not sure what became of him.
Okay. And obviously I'm not going to be asking around, especially not anyone in the tower, especially. But if there's anything else you remember, I also wanted to ask, did you learn anything from Vis's body after he was taken here?
Very, very little. All I was searching for was the origin of his innate magical power. But it was purely tied to his race and or as far as we could make out, purely tied to his race. There was no extra ability within him. Other Yuan-Ti can be much more powerful, but all Yuan-Ti have some innate spellcasting ability. I was researching the possibility of both, but I was able to conclude, which this has been concluded in many other races across the land, of innate ability for certain races. It was nothing new to learn, and nothing directly connected to me.
One of my teammates had some concerns. He gave Vist's absolution before the execution, and he was concerned about something Vist said regarding his religion and after he died. And so I was wondering if I could ask what happened to his body when you were done with researching.
By order, it would have been burned. You're talking about the eating thing?
Yeah.
First of all, only beings of extreme power does that matter at all. And also, the one doing the eating has to have a specific type of magical power as well. I don't think this Yuan-Ti would have provided anything special.
Okay.
There are countless entities that feed on souls and magical essence, and they could have gotten something from him, but no great increase.
I have yet another question. This one might be uncomfortable, but it has not stopped bothering me. Do you think Vist was guilty?
Their hands kind of jerk apart, and the green energy strings all snap individually. And they very quickly make a, by now familiar gesture to you, and you stop hearing sounds coming from the window and such. And they sit up from their position, kind of awkwardly. You don't see them do things awkwardly ever. Like it always looks graceful, intentional, but it's like struggling to sit up, type thing. And they turn to you, and even with their spell cast, speak in a hushed tone and say, Count Ander seems a fool, but he has ears. They take a slow breath and say, I am certain Vist was guilty of something. I doubt he was guilty of any of the charges he was accused of.
Ren doesn't look completely reassured, but he also doesn't look like he's feeling much better either. He's just kind of nods. And So to Count Ander, the investigation of the library break-in is over.
Not specifically to his credit, but more just in terms of practicality. I did extensive searching throughout the library, and if I could remember my own NPC name. One second. And Father Uthgard is combing through the restricted section on his own. There are certain spells and blocks in place that should have been triggered were someone to get into the restricted section. None of them were. My spells, and those of the team that I had investigating did not come up with any evidence of anything missing. Which means one of two things. It was either an incredibly powerful and incredibly clever spellcaster who did it, who, in all honesty, would be strong enough to be a great concern. But if that is the case, whatever they got, whatever they did, they have not acted with it upon Storad. At least not yet. And it's been nearly 2 months now. Or the whole thing has been a distraction. I do not think any further investigation will yield anything, and also, Ander himself commanded the investigation be called off. The guilty party had been found and killed. The investigation was at its end. If I were to guess, he didn't want people thinking that he was second-guessing himself, or that any of us were second-guessing him. But, as I said, I don't think there was much more for us to find. Not that there was much for us to find to begin with.
Hey. Those are roughly the thoughts that I had been turning over. I know I have to be more careful. Thank you for looking out for me.
They reach out and just like grab your arm tightly and then just like give your arm a squeeze and then let go.
Jenny's like, oh, okay. Ren pauses, looks slightly surprised. Then reaches back and just kind of squeezes their shoulder really quick. Remembers that they're not wearing very much, takes his hand back, and then says, let me know if you need anything, and he's gonna head out if there's nothing else.
Perception check.
Oh no, 22.
Oh no, it's good. where your hand touched them, it goes from that, which it was more explanation on when you came in, like the upper right side of them was blue, and it transitioned to yellow as it went down and left. Where you grabbed was their right shoulder. Everywhere that your hand touched them when it came away was pink.
I'm so sorry, Kenda. Okay. Yeah, Ren will head out.
They don't say anything as you leave. All right. Let's go to the investigation squad.
I need a minute.
I feel really sorry for Kenda.
I feel so bad for Kenda.
Okay, I have to ask. I know that Ren has a crush, or it seems that Ren has a crush. Is there any way that Ren could like two people at one time? Could
What?
he ever get confused with his feelings?
What? I have no idea what you're talking about, Asher.
Gaslight gatekeep girl boss.
Ren is a girl boss.
Ren is absolutely a girl boss. We all know this to be true.
Ren is a mother hen, and a girl boss.
For some reason, as Ren is leaving the tower of the university, he just instinctively clutches his pearls.
Clutches his pearls at Kenda turning pink where they were touched.
I was more saying metagamingly, Ren senses a
yeah.
disturbance in the force that people are calling him a girl boss.
I have no idea what you're talking about, Asher.
We're not. No, never mind. Okay, so the guard hall. As the two of you approach, you have walked past this building a few times, but those at home don't know what it looks like, and neither do you. So I'm going to describe it as if it was your first time approaching. So as you approach from the north, from the main keep of Storgard, you approach the cast iron fence that has stone pillars every 15 feet or so. There's gates fairly regularly. There's 8 gates around the entire building, and they're all like there's heavy duty, kind of scary looking locks on each one of them. It is a mostly gray, pale gray building, as well as the stone pillars are also a pale gray. It's like just a large rectangle. You are facing the wide side of, or one of the wide sides. The east and west ends are the shorter sides, and it's just a big old rectangle. Along the roof of the building, it is crenellated, as well as some It's crenellated, as well as every 15 feet or so, there is a stone platform that comes away from the roof. So it slants away, and then there's a platform on the roof with murder holes on the bottom. This
Murder holes.
That's what they're called. They're called murder holes because you drop things that murder through them. Recently learned that boiling oil wasn't actually used, and if it was used extraordinarily seldom because oil is expensive and boiling water does the same stuff. Like, it doesn't make sense to build a fire and heat up a pot of pitch or oil and then dump it on something. Like, the only way that makes sense is if you are trying to set whatever you're dumping it on fire. In which case, like, you don't have to boil the oil. Like, boiling the oil makes no sense. Like, why? Anyway, you just dump it on them and then set it on fire. Why does it need to be boiling? Something much more commonly used was actually very, very heated sand. They would just pour buckets of superheated sand on people, and it would, get in their clothes and armor and be extraordinarily difficult to get out. History with Ben. Medieval fortresses with Ben. Whatever. Anyway, this large, pale gray stone rectangular building looks like a fucking fortress, because it is. As you're approaching, everything that you can see. So the first floor is kind of like a hall, but it's more of an armory, really. It's just a large open area where the guards take their meals, and also every wall is lined with their weaponry. For if there's any kind of emergency, they grab their weaponry and disperse from this central building, which it is basically dead center of the city. Some of the walls are a little not circular, so it's not, it's not equidistant from every point of the wall. But this is the central location. The upper 3 floors is a 4-story building. The upper 3 floors are the housing for the guards, as well as a few other things. There's some training rooms and such up there. And you also know that the building has 3 floors underground. The first 2 floors underground are kind of just like, it's kind of like a jail cell at a police station, where it's like, you're not in the dungeon yet. You drank too many times, punched someone in the face while a guard was watching, and so you got thrown in a cell for the night. The first 2 floors are that. And then the bottom floor is something you actually don't know. You know it exists, and there's 1,000 different rumors. It's a torture chamber. It's actually oubliettes. It's absolutely terrible. Oh no, it's just another training floor. You have no idea. So that is what you see as you approach. Each of the gates are manned by 4 guards, and then also, as you approach, and each of those platforms that jut off from the roof, there is, at a minimum, 2 guards on each one. But there you also see a few guards patrolling. And yeah.
So, Call is going to, honestly, Call doesn't really know the best solution here, so Call's gonna walk up and be like, yo, I need to, speak with, fuck, I lost his title. Ryan's title?
Lord
Captain.
Ryan?
Ben?
Captain.
Captain.
Captain
Captain.
Ryan?
Captain
Okay.
Ryan of the City Watch.
Yep. And is going to say, like, we need to speak to Captain Ryan. We have, we've been tasked on an assignment from, Count Ander.
The guards look you over briefly, and one of them kind of squints a little bit at the little brooch you have, Call, that is from Zerka, like your badge of office. And then they kind of just look at each other and nod and are like, all right, yeah, he should be on the top floor. And then they briefly give you directions. You go in the main door. If anyone yells at you, just keep walking. They know that we do our job. In the front door, take a left down the hall, staircase at the end, all the way to the top, all the way to the top floor, not the roof. If you go on the roof, you might get thrown off. Top floor, into the hallway, third door on the left.
Understood. Call thanks them and looks at Henry and gestures to head on in.
Mm-hmm.
So, following those instructions, Call's gonna like probably be looking around in interest because Call's a nosy biddy. But is also not really trying to like dawdle or anything, just kind of looking around as they walk.
Make a perception check for me.
Will do. It'll be my first roll with the new dice. We'll see how it goes. 23.
All right. I've already told you what things look like. I need to make a roll real quick. Okay. The only thing that you really noticed, the good roll, the only thing you really notice on the way in is now that you're inside that wall, when you look back on the near side, there are there's like wooden platforms around the inside of the wall, and with the 23, you can tell that these platforms are flat on the ground and look like people walk on them, but they're also exactly the same height and also are sectioned to. It looks like they can raise up and block all of the cast iron fence part of the fence, so as to stop missiles and such from getting into the little courtyard area.
Hell yeah. All right. And with that, unless something happens on the way there, I suppose Call and Ren are just going to go straight towards his office.
Call and Henry.
And yes.
Ren's busy.
Ren's busy. Call and Henry. And knock on the door.
You get a couple looks on the way, but y'all are in no way hidden from the fact that you work for Ander. One thing I will point out: all of the guards are wearing the kind of piecemeal different armors. You know that some of the different guard hold different like positions for combat, but the only store guard green that any of them wear is like a little half cape. The rest of their uniform is brown. Um, so, y'all get to the top. You knock on the door, and you hear the voice of Captain Ryan. I'm going to double check something really quick. I gave them all G names, and then said to myself, I'll remember. And you hear Captain Garrett Ryan call out, just enter.
We proceed to do just that.
He is sitting at a desk, and as with almost every desk of people whose room you all walk into, it is scattered with papers. At a quick glance, he does not look to be an overly organized person, at least for this office. You do see different papers everywhere. You see a stack of wanted posters that they're not kept together, and you can see across one of them is written the word paid, and gather that these are wanted posters that have actually brought someone in. So he's kind of just moving through stuff, and he looks up at the two of you entering and just says, yes, what is it?
Call is going to glance at Henry to see if, Henry wants to take point, and if Henry doesn't step forward, Call's going to go ahead and start talking.
I think Henry's kind of gesture to Call, go ahead, just because Call knows more about Zerka and such, is his thoughts.
Yeah. Okay. So Call's going to just go ahead and say, if you'll recall, we have been tasked by Ander to look into the interruption of the execution a short while back. While I presume you have, actually, Call's going to say, I presume that in the course of your duties, you have already spoken to the guards who were present and survived the attack. And we wanted to see if either you had any notable information so that we did not duplicate efforts, or if you think it would be beneficial for us to speak to those guards ourselves, if you could point us in their direction.
He just kind of shifts a paper over and pulls out a sheet that just looks like it has a bunch of names and times on it. And he just kind of follows the list a couple times, and he says, most of the ones that are fit for duty are on duty right now. I did speak to all of them myself. We've been working this since the day of. Only recently has Ander shown more interest in it, and I suppose that's why the two of you are here. I've talked to my guards, and as you remember, I was there myself. Sadly, we don't know anything about the caster. None of us, we have no wanted posters. We even sent to some of the outlying towns inquiring of their likeness, and didn't get anything back on that. The only thing we did get, he actually reaches over and shuffles through his that pile of like turned in wanted posters, and just like 2 or 3 down, he pulls one out and he says, "Yeah, this guy." He turns it to you, and you see a guy with a big bushy beard, and a scar that's not the slice scar, but it's a jagged, ugly-looking scar that starts like almost at his eye and then comes across to his lip and then is kind of nasty at his lip. This man did say he knew something about it, but turns out most of what he said was bullshit. The only thing that we have that we're working on as actual truth from him is a name of a tavern, and he like lifts up some other papers and he says, "Half a mug. We sent plenty of guards there, but best we can tell, they have some kind of warning system because every time we come in, it looks like it was just busy. But by the time my guards enter, there will be 5, 7 patrons in there." Aside from that, we have spoken to the owner of the establishment, given him description of both the spellcaster and a few of the other guards that we had descriptions of because we had their bodies. He claims to have never seen any of them, including, he taps the wanted poster that he showed y'all earlier, this one. And as I said, this one himself, he claimed to not be involved, and the information we got from him was a deal that we made with him. So since then, he stayed in the dungeon for 2 weeks and then was released. Zerka came in here yesterday, and we told her the same. I don't know if she's been able to follow up on him yet. Brief pause. Ben Brain is getting tied up in detective shows that are modern, and I keep wanting to say modern terms. Sorry, going back. So yeah, we haven't. He hasn't been with us since. My own math.
6 weeks.
6
weeks.
Well, the execution wasn't 2 months ago. The execution was, I think, just over a month ago. So I think it's actually about 4 weeks from this point. Right? Yeah. So yeah, it's been about 4 weeks, so almost a month since he was released.
Carl will thank him for the useful information and will say, I understand that it may be a complication having Ander assign us to an investigation already in progress. As such, is there any way we can... How would we be most helpful to aid in the search without duplicating efforts or getting underfoot?
To be completely honest, the efforts have been duplicated enough already. He kind of rolls his shoulders a little bit and sighs. And then he says, we've done what we can with what leads we have. You're more than welcome to follow up, do your own searching. He points specifically at Call's brooch and says, probably want to ditch that on your way. And then kind of looks at both of you and just kind of gestures. Might want to just all know. Y'all are both very obviously store guard.
Kyle kind of gives that that agreeing, like, yes, obviously kind of thing. Not the I'm not stupid kind of thing, but the like, of course.
Other than just following up where you can, seeing what you can do, I am still on this as well. I know that you'll report to Zerka, but if you do find out anything new, let us know. I technically have 12 of my men on this case, and they honestly haven't had much to do.
Understood, and will do. Thank you for your help. This has been very informative.
He just nods to you.
I guess in that case, actually, Call is going to ask if he has any written statements from the guards, considering that he said most, like, any of the guards who were fit for duty were currently on duty.
No, we don't really keep a written record of guard statements. It's usually pretty easy to just talk to the guards again.
All right, thank you. I guess in a reciprocal request, if you think of anything from either the statements or any other investigative efforts that you may have forgotten about, please do let us know.
Well, as far as the statements are concerned, most of them, a good portion of them, the gist sounds basically, well, I was standing on a platform and then everything went black.
Relatable.
And then kind of the other half of them were, I felt a sharp pain and then couldn't see anymore. Most of them, whatever those bandits had their arrows tipped with, knocked them out really quick. And then, of course, with the darkness spell, there wasn't much to be seen anyway.
Thank you for your time.
At this point, when Ryan was talking about what the guards had saw, did the little useless baby caster, did she survive?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I thought so. I think Henry asks,
Older than you.
Asher's calling them baby, not Henry. Henry, what do you call them that?
I like the idea of Henry talking to Captain Ryan going, did that useless little baby caster survive?
You stupid little baby caster. You little baby.
You stupid, useless thing.
Is she taller than Henry too?
No,
No, she's a gnome.
Henry is a tall dwarf. She's a dwarf, but
She's a dwarf. Okay.
But she's not.
She's a normal-sized dwarf.
Yeah.
I have an
Yes?
interrupting question.
What's that?
Is Jenny frozen to anyone else, or is it just me?
No,
Jenny
she's-
is moving. Jenny is gone.
Oh, Jenny's gone.
Goodbye, Jenny.
Jenny is back.
Jenny's back.
Jenny's still frozen to me at the exact same screenshot. I will leave and come back.
Okay, bye.
Bye.
Jenny moves again.
Yeah.
Yay. So I think Henry asks, also on the platform there was a mage who was also down guarding the prison. Henry pauses after the word guarding the prisoner, and pointedly does not say Vist's name. The prisoner before the execution. I know she's a mage, so she's not under, I guess I should ask, is she one of your guards, or if not, have you talked to her yet?
She is not one of mine. Master Barnabas kind of loans some of his spellcasters to us on and off, so that for such a purpose as hers, so that they can get some more practical knowledge. But they only report to me while they serve with me, and she has not served with me since that day.
Henry kind of smiles and says, do you happen to remember her name?
He is going to rifle through some papers. I rifle through some documents. Did I name her?
Guys?
Yeah?
Did those bandits actually kill anyone, or did they just knock them out with poison? Did they kill anyone?
I thought they killed guards.
Right?
Yes, they killed some guards. I'm
Yes,
sorry. I just wanted to let you
Okay,
sit on it for a
okay.
second.
Okay. Okay.
Their arrows were tipped with some kind of poison that, in game terms, which I was kind of going expediently through the combat because it was so many different, people involved. Were that poison to hit you, it would be a Constitution saving throw, and kind of the idea being for the guards, a fail on that saving throw meant they died. A success meant that it put them unconscious, because the poison was enough to put them unconscious, and then other things involved.
For a second, I was thinking, oh no, they were literally just casting darkness and tranquilizing the guards. Did Ren just start blowing up their heads before they started killing anyone?
No,
Did
there
Ren
were
just murder some pacifists?
some of the guards were killed. Some of the guards are actually still like he mentioned, of the ones that are ready for duty. It's some of them are still hospitalized, kind of. Um,
Okay, blowing up heads is still bad, but I was gonna feel like a million times worse. But okay.
no, they certainly were straight up killing people. And it wasn't like the poison was designed to knock them out, and sometimes it went too far. It was like this was bad poison.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm glad you said that because I remember Henry like not wanting, like initially when they showed up on the scene, Henry being like, "Oh, maybe I'll not stop these guys because if they're just gonna try to get Vist and leave and save him, then maybe this is something I back." But they just started killing people.
They did drop, I think, like 6 or 7 guards in the first turn.
Yeah, and Henry was like, "Oh, so yeah, we do have to.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to stop these guys."
Yes. So, what were we talking about before that happened?
Useless spellcaster's name.
Yeah.
So we can stop calling her useless spellcaster.
Stop being just so rude. She tried. Okay, she rolled poorly, but she tried. And I just keep my brain keeps like, here's a name, and I'm like, that's a character already. That's already someone. Her name is. There's just nothing in my head. There's nothing in my head. Rana, Rana, Rana. Fucking Beverly.
I was trying to help.
Trying to help with like the only name not as bad as Karen. Wait, not the only. What?
It's a Karen
One
type
step
name.
above Karen. That's what I
Yeah.
want.
I mean, I was looking for something useless, so.
You know I have an aunt, Beverly.
And she's useless.
See, it's funny you said that because I saw a TikTok today and it was of a black woman talking about like what white allies could do. She's like, y'all have Karens in your blood. Use it for good. Run when you literally have Beverly's in your blood.
We have devolved. Moving on.
Okay, so Ryan says her name is Rana. Henry thanks him and says, okay, Asher asking, the executioner was hooded to conceal identity, correct? I would assume
Yes.
so. Okay, Henry says, have you interviewed the executioner as well? I wouldn't want to try to reveal his identity or talk to him if that's going to be an issue, but if you've talked to him.
I have spoken to him. The mask that he wears is not exactly great for seeing. And also, he and I both were more concerned with making sure Vist did not escape.
Okay.
He says the prisoner. He doesn't say Vist.
Okay.
Oh no. Call was just going to assume that was the end of it and just be like, "Thank you for your time,"
Did you
and then
salute?
turn around to leave.
Did you just salute?
That's the vibe of like, all right, see you later, soldier. Like, that's the vibe. That's not what.
See you later, soldier.
I'm not actually. I'm not actually sure about protocol when saluting to someone if they're sitting down. I'll look it up later.
Research deep dive.
because like I know someone of a lower rank does not salute while seated. Like you're not saluting if you are sitting down. Obvious exceptions, but so yeah, y'all leave?
Yeah.
Question mark. Okay.
Yes.
Do you do anything on the way out?
Oh wait, sorry. Before we leave, actually, Henry had one more thing to ask you.
Okay.
Oh my God.
I was gonna say it, and then I think I assumed Bronwyn was gonna say it, and then I was like, okay, check it off my list. But then Bronwyn said something else.
Okay.
How
about you say it now?
Oh, you want me to say what I was gonna say? What you want me to? I think Henry says so. I know that you said the guards are currently on duty that we could talk to. Can we have a list of names, and could we maybe come back at like dinner to talk to them, or?
He says yes and writes out a list of names. I'm not coming up with 7 names
You don't
right
want to
now.
name them all? Beverly, Bev, Lee.
It's not one person with multiple personalities. There's 7 individuals. He gives you that list and says dinner a little after would be a good time. And then if you wanted to take a visit to the Medica, you might find some of them conscious. They've been in and out for the most part.
Henry thanks him. They thank him like Brown said, and then they leave.
All right.
After they get out of our lovely fortress, Call is going to turn to Henry and say, so it seems like the next thing to do is not look like this and go get a drink.
All right. I think Henry also said, and then Henry is like, yeah, should we take Ren with us?
We'll see if we can find him. If not, I'm trying to think of the best time to go. Would it be more beneficial to go closer to the evening, or will we stand, it's definitely too early to go now. It's still early in the morning. We're not going to get anything now. But if we go a little later in the day, how early is too early?
Should we go separately so that they don't know we're together? Or should we go as friends and then we have more of a cover?
I think we should definitely go as friends. In certain situations, I believe that would be beneficial, but it sounds like this is a suspicious lot, and 2 isolated individuals who are unfamiliar to them showing up on the same day at the same time is probably going to be too coincidental for comfort. However, an unlikely duo of people looking for a place to stop and get lunch is going to strike them as significantly less suspicious.
That's true. And maybe you and I can go for lunch today, and then we can bring Ren tomorrow night for a drink, and then that way it's like, oh, we came here, we had a good time, and then we brought a friend later on.
Yeah. I think that's reasonable. All right, that also gives us time to, change clothes, and if we spot Ren before lunch, we can go ahead and take him with us, and otherwise I think we should just go for lunch.
Okay.
So, it's a reasonable, logical time to go.
Which, if we do see Ren, we could tell him about Rana, and maybe he could look into that as
Oh,
well.
yes, that's a good thought. Okay. Meet in the courtyard once we've had time to change.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right.
Ren, where are you headed after talking to Kenda?
Probably back towards the courtyard, like assuming that he'd like be meeting up with the others.
All right. Well, neither interaction would have lasted very long. Honestly, the two conversations probably lasted about the same amount of time. And Ren had much less of a walk, so you would, if you would be waiting around for them, you would still be in the courtyard as they approach.
Cool.
So yeah, Henry and Call enter courtyard, and there's Ren.
Hello. How did your talk go?
It went well. Ren's kind of just slightly shifty-eyed, like he's still not comfortable talking in public, but that's just him.
Insight check.
Go for an insight check. Oh, yeah. If Ren's trying to hide something, roll a deception check.
Nat 20.
If Ren's trying to hide something, I don't care.
Nat 20 plus 5. 25.
Okay. All right. Yeah, Ren's, usual level of paranoia, but he also looks kind of like emotionally winded, like I don't know, just this kind of emotion, just whatever that is. I'm not a writer. But he's okay.
Little 1,000-yard stare, kind of.
Slightly, but just slightly. Like if you hadn't rolled a 20, you would have missed it.
Yeah.
So,
Which means Call missed it.
well, I mean, it was a 22, so if Call beat a 22.
Call got an 18.
Nope. Okay.
Yeah, these are good rolls across the board, though. Like, dang. Use them on the important stuff, I guess.
Yeah, I think so. Henry kind of rubs Ren's back a little bit, but doesn't make a big deal about it.
You mean Henry doesn't just like give Ren a little arm squeeze?
I thought about saying Henry squeezed Ren on the shoulder.
I'm sorry, I'm derailing. What was Henry doing?
Henry gives Ren just like a little friendly, just a quick little rub on the back.
Ren reciprocates.
Oh.
No leads, but a few confirmations. Do you guys have anything? What's the plan from here?
We have a lead of a couple leads. So, we got a list of names of guards that we could talk to. That's probably not going to yield much, but we have it. We have a tavern, or I think Henry kind of talks quietly. Can I do a perception check to see if there's anybody around that could hear us before?
You are currently talking just in the courtyard.
Yeah, 11.
You don't see anyone who doesn't belong here, so either you don't see anybody that's not a member of one of the corps or like nobility.
Is there anybody near enough to hear us?
On an 11, you don't think so?
Okay.
And Ren do a perception check, which he probably should have done before he started talking at all.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I feel like if Henry started looking around, it would make sense for other people to look around.
6.
Y'all are pretty confident that there's nobody listening in.
Ren.
I think Henry talks quietly anyway and says, "Yeah, there's a place that's a lead that we're gonna go to for lunch. Also, I was thinking about interviewing the mage who was on the platform. We found out her name was Rana, and Ryan, Captain Ryan referred to her as one of Barnabas's. So I don't know if it's just because she is a mage or if it was like particular in some way. Like, do you know her?
Does Ren know of anyone named Rana?
Give me a second. I have to double check if I.
Look like an Eden.
So, hey, Ettins are fun. Maybe Ettins will happen at some point. There's no Ettins in the city. Anyway, Rana is a wizard. You honestly aren't all that acquainted with other sorcerers, and you don't go to any of the long classes that wizards go to of studying spell composition and writing and reciting and such. So I'm going to say no, you don't know of anyone named Rana.
No, but you said she, did Henry say that she's Barnabas' student?
Henry says that she's one of Barnabas's, but that could mean Barnabas's student or just, yeah, she's a mage.
A wizard in general, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, I don't know her.
Well, she's dwarven, and I think Henry kind of makes like a hand gesture of how tall she is because Henry stood next to her for a while. You know about this tall? I think she has dark hair and like a gray streak. Henry gives a physical description because he would remember this person because he fought her.
There was not a. I don't remember a gray streak.
I'm going based off my memory of her token in Dungeon Fog.
Then you are probably remembering like a reflection line. Like.
Oh, probably, yeah.
I do not think I made.
You mean Paul's not the only one?
Honestly, her token was similar to Call's, so maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Like, I'm gonna be real. But Henry gives a physical description.
Look up what the freaking. We are gonna go off of whatever the token looks like as far as what she looks like. So I'm just gonna grab the token real quick and get a look at it. I don't know why I'm opening Dungeon Fog to do it. I have it saved in a folder, but we're here now. Things take time to open. Wizard. She does have gray hair.
There we go. But Henry says, well, I mean, I think it would be good to talk to her. Is there, do you think it would be kind of easy to look around and maybe ask Barnabas about her or somebody else and see if you can talk to her about what she remembers? I personally don't want to talk to her. I probably wouldn't be helpful in talking to her.
Insight check.
Awkward.
Roll it.
19.
Henry looks very awkward. He always has rosy cheeks, but he looks a little bit more flushed, like a blush. He looks just kind of uncomfortable, like I think that's what you get. Wait, on a 19.
Okay.
Now I'm questioning if Henry has slept with her at some point.
Yeah, Ren is just okay. I'll talk to her. Just moving along with it.
I want to insight check your insight check.
No.
Just kidding.
This is too meta. Too many layers, but okay, yeah, I can ask Barnabas, and there's something outside the window that sounded weird. Centering my brain. Okay, do you need me to do that today? I can just go back to the mage tower if you need me to.
You can't. I was thinking, I mean, we don't have to do this, but I was thinking Call and I could go to the place for lunch today, and then maybe all three of us could go tomorrow night. So that way we're going at different times of day. And then I think it looks a little bit less suspicious if we add a person, as if, I don't know. What do y'all think about that?
Sounds good to me.
I don't particularly see a benefit or drawback in having Ren only join tomorrow. So if Ren wants to join now, he's welcome to. But I don't particularly see a benefit in intentionally staggering. So just let your schedule be up to you.
Henry smiles and goes, well, Paul knows way better than I do about this. Do you want to come for lunch?
I would like to come to lunch.
All right.
Just because y'all are talking about lunch, like it's starting to push lunchtime.
I think Henry, does Ren look like a
Ren wouldn't have really like store guard issued clothing. So I mean, Jenny, what is Ren wearing?
Okay.
It's a sash.
I'm so superficial. I've been so happy about this. Okay, like, oh yes, I'm glad you asked. So yeah, mages don't really have a dress code, you know. I think we've discussed that too. But what was okay.
Considering one of the head of the mages frequently is like almost naked, probably not a dress code. Yeah.
Only wearing a scarf.
Not a. Oh, okay. Yeah, Barnabas only wears a scarf. Yeah. Did you forget that? Because yeah, Barnabas only wears a scarf.
No, that's what I was saying. Oh yeah, Barnabas only wears a scarf.
Jenny made a face.
No, it's just like, oh shit, two of them today. So one's wearing a scarf and the other's wearing like a sash, and that's it.
To be clear, Ben, the sash was covering.
Yes,
was covering. Okay.
Like it, not loincloth. Like it wasn't actually like fastened to them. It was kind of draped.
They be naked.
They be naked.
Kenda was just naked. Okay.
Which also makes the skin turning colors like a whole own thing on top of that. Like, there's just extra layers to this.
I'm blushing for Ren.
I also, Kenda sat up kind of in a tizzy.
That's what I was wondering about. I was like, if it wasn't fastened, like, did Ren get flashed? That's the question I'm asking.
Can we roll for that?
Can we roll for that?
Why did you do that?
Because Asher is threatening me, and Asher's threatening me with booby things, and now I'm like, well, now we have to just feed into the chaos. So.
I don't have pearls to clutch. Pearls aren't vegan.
Okay.
Guys.
Well, if you want to go grab some, there's some in the bathroom.
I have I think of opal.
Kenda just rolled a dexterity saving throw and succeeded on it.
Okay.
But what would Kenda be wanting?
Listen,
Wanting? No.
Would
Oh my
Kenda
stop it.
want?
Asher.
Hey, Kenda does not flash Ren. Kenda does not display romantic or physically attracting motives to Ren.
yes, they are friends with boundaries now. Thank you,
They
Ashley.
are friends with probably firmer boundaries
with
than
both.
most friends have. Like,
I thought you were gonna say with benefits. I
No.
swear that's what you were gonna say. And
boundaries. Boundaries. Keep it in your pants and let's
No. Keep it in my sash.
Focus on.
Okay, what is Ren wearing right now? Wouldn't be it. Ron, that's what we were talking about because we need to not look like a.
I am aware, but the keep it in your pants. Okay, well, what's Ren wearing is one fucking hell of a transition right there.
Oh man.
Well, that's how we transition to the other topics. I thought
I'm about to mute you, Asher. Just mute the mic. We calm the fuck down.
Ren does not wear any kind of uniform. He just wears civilian clothes, but kind of nice ones. He's incorporating colors now, so he has like some blue incorporated in. Like, he looks tidy, like nice, like a nerd, but like a cool nerd. Okay, so anyway,
just real quick, does he ever wear Storguard green? This is just
No.
curiosity. No. Okay. That's totally fine. Just curiosity.
Yeah, I think he keeps his, like, if he has like a badge or something like that, he probably keeps it like in his pocket or something.
His badge of office is technically a tattoo.
He doesn't have to show anyone.
That's true.
Let's see. I have them in Hero Forge.
Oh, he's wearing his Hero Forge outfit?
Roughly speaking. No, it's cuter than that. Less gray. It's nicer. Okay.
So, what are y'all doing?
Paul is going to say, I'll meet you here in a little bit, and is going to go to the barracks to change clothes.
Yes. Same.
Ren is gonna sit there, and does he have anything in his inventory to just fiddle with? He still has the bloody robes that we took off of that cultist.
Just been carrying those around. Those probably smell real good.
Ren?
This is a D&D thing. You look in your inventory. I have 4 bloody uniforms. Is that something? Can we
I have an entire bear trap.
Henry, in his bag of joy, I'm looking at the list right now, has fidget toys. I think before he departs, he would look. I think he would like to make a move to like go to his barracks, and then he'd turn around and see Ren just kind of.
He
would
probably have the heating stones actually.
Oh.
Yeah. He's just
Henry already made for him.
Tapping heat stones together.
Yeah.
I think Henry reaches into his bag and pulls out a fidget toy and says, "Do you want to play with this while we change?"
I'm gonna describe it because I just thought of this. It is it's like a wooden rectangle that's hollowed out, and then there's kind of like a seesaw bar coming through it, so it like goes through the rectangle. That there's a little notch carved into, like within the rectangle, there's a little notch carved in, so the little seesaw bit clicks back and forth.
Yeah. Okay. Henry just smiles at him and hands it to him, and then goes and gets changed.
And Ren's sitting there. Click, click,
Yeah.
click, click.
All right. Are we gonna go over what our outfits are when we get back, or are we just
I
gonna
would.
go to
Yeah,
lunch?
yes, you are going to, because I need to know what y'all look like
For game reasons.
for game reasons.
Yes.
For gay
Actually,
reasons?
legitimately, but yeah, game reasons.
For game reasons.
So, okay. In that case, Call is going to come back out with their hair fully down for the first time, probably like just out and about that you guys have seen. Call usually has their hair at least partially pulled up. Call is also going to be wearing they have their, pretty reliable, sturdy pair of boots. And so their Call's mentality is that they're just kind of building around that level of dress. So especially if Ren's not changing and Ren looks relatively nice, Call's not going to bother to try to like undersell, placement in society or any of that kind of stuff in terms of, disguisey kinds of things. So Call is just going to, dress like a modest person on their day off who's just wandering through town. So they're going to be wearing, a sensible pair of slacks. They're actually going to leave their bag, the satchel that they normally carry at home. So they're not taking their satchel with them. They are going to have a dagger in their boot and a dagger on their waist, I think. Probably fairly obvious, but they're gonna not pick one of their like really serviceable ones. They're gonna pick one that looks a little more ornamental, like a college student who's trying to like, be safe, but not someone who like looks professionally accustomed to it. They are going to be wearing they do have a few clothes that aren't, store guard colors because, they've lived here for a couple of years. They don't, they have days off every once in a while. So they're going to be wearing serviceable like brown slacks and in a blue top, probably just a pretty modest blue top with like long sleeves and a I will let you know as I think of any more details as is necessary. But so far, that's what they're doing. Just hair down, that sort of thing. Looking like they're protecting themselves, but like, trying to veer it like they're ineffectual at it.
Okay. I believe there's actually a role. Oh, it's disguise kit. That's a thing. Yeah. Okay.
Henry is he's okay. So he's wearing just kind of like brown, like I'm imagining like puffy pants. Not like
Pantaloons.
puffed, but like you know what I mean, like
Mm.
like joggers,
Pantaloons.
but yeah.
They're called pantaloons.
Oh, they're called pantaloons. Okay. And he's wearing like a white kind of billowy shirt. I'm thinking like pirate shirt. I know that has like long sleeves and kind of has a little tie right here. And then over that he's wearing a like a brown vest, kind of like a dark brown vest. And his hair is he had it in kind of a braided style of some sort, And rather than having it his normal kind of braids, he takes a few of them out. He has just a few small braids, but he pulls all of it back up into like a bun in the back, to look just kind of more simple and not as extravagant as he usually does. I mean, let's see what his braid options are. He do you remember the sizes of the braids, babe?
Which ones?
Okay, looking at Fortify and Bravery.
Fortify is definitely either the whole beard or half of the head. Bravery it should be in the description of the item.
Nope. Oh, it is at the top. Sorry. Takes about 1/4 of the hair. Okay. I think that for Henry's bun, it is Fortify. But he does not tie Bravery. He does have shine in his beard, as he always does. He has 3 knots of shine. But he doesn't have. He takes out the other braids of his beard, so he just kind of like combs it to just kind of and then he combs it through with some of his like beard oil to make it just him look like clean cut. Yeah.
Okay. I will say that like the braids that are the magical knots, like it's not you're just pulling all of your hair back and then tying it down the center, because it wouldn't really be like a bun. It would be because it's the braid that is the knot that is Fortify, because that's the whole thing, is that you're tying the word fortify. That's the whole point of it.
But is it and it's long?
Well, I'm just saying that like it's not like a ball bun on the back of your head. It's the braid. It's not super long, but it takes, that's how about the.
I can't imagine what you're saying.
Well, your hair isn't in a bun; it's in a braid, is what I'm saying.
Okay. I can't imagine it then.
Well, it's like the knots are intricate and not it's not like just a 3-strand braid. That's not what I'm talking about. But like it doesn't matter. You can do what you are saying. I'm just saying it doesn't look like a bun on the back of your head. It is a very intricate braid knot.
Okay.
If you want to have Fortify tied, that's what it is.
Okay.
One thing that Call did decide to do for their outfit is that they took their the ring that Juster gave them, like their dad's ring, and they put it on like a fairly nice cord and put that around their neck. They're kind of operating under the assumption that people will recognize the ring for like, a seal as it is, but also aren't going to, recognize the seal of, some elf who does business in another country far away. So isn't going to be too much of like a personal identifier, but is going to be enough to like give Call a contextual backstory. So Call is going to do that.
in a similar vein, Henry is wearing his amulet to where you can see it over, through his shirt, like on top of his shirt. And he is also wearing the opal, but it's underneath his shirt.
Um, okay. All right. So the three of y'all head to the half a mug. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Yes, we do.
So Ren is dressed as he normally is. No changes. Correct.
Pretty much. He just doesn't look like such a sad boy.
All right. Well, I think we are going to call it on the trip over, and we'll pick up next session at the Half a Mug Tavern. When do we want to do next session? Is Ash, what's good for us? Because obviously the coming weekend we are busy, but after that, what are we?
We are back on Tuesday. But that's also jujitsu night, so I don't know if you want to do that.
I also, that's also no prep time.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
So I would prefer Thursday or Friday.
Friday the 3rd.
That should work.
Friday the 3rd?
Yep.
All right. Anyone watching? Friday the 3rd of June will be our next session. And yeah.
Nice.
Go ahead and end stream. Bye.
Bye.